feel like everybody in the gaming industry is honestly about 10 years behind the actual curve. Well, everybody who's trying to argue about consoles and exclusives. You see, we've talked recently a lot about how things are moving towards the platform war and how Microsoft is now setting the first shot across the bow. And I've talked about that before, specifically how Microsoft is now targeting more things like Steam and actually keeping you on the Windows platform more so than they are trying to fight an actual console war against PlayStation and Nintendo. You see, the funniest thing about all of this, though, is that for some reason, a lot of people are incredibly confused. And honestly, I feel where the confusion is coming from are people that have never touched a PC before in their entire life to play video games. Because anyone on the PC gaming space knows there are far more storefronts and even launchers than just Steam. You've got GOG, you've got Epic Game Store, which, ew, who even really uses that except for Fortnite? But even then, that is a massive chunk out of the player base. You've got everything from Riot's own launcher for League of Legends, as well as for Valorant. You also have basically every other kind of mobile gacha game being available on the PC space as well, with cross-play and cross-actual progression functionality. So once you're done playing your game on your phone, you can go home and play your game on your PC and pull all those Honkai Star Rail Uwu packs if you want to. And all those games, all those storefronts, and all those places and platforms are indeed fighting for one thing specifically: your time. And everybody who's been confused about what Matt Booty said a few days ago, and even then what yesterday Satya Nadella said as well, truly goes to show their entire scope of what video games actually are is incredibly limited and small. It's sequestered into its own little box of console gaming, not understanding the actual plays Microsoft is in fact making, and who they really consider to be their true competition even right now. According to VGC, Microsoft's CEO agrees that Xbox's competition isn't other gaming platforms, it's TikTok. The game business model has to be where we have to invent maybe some new interactive media as well. And I think what's so incredibly concerning is how people are taking words, in fact, directly and literally. You can see with every single reply in this thread, people trying to make fun of the actual statement, not even understanding what Satya Nadella is even talking about. People saying things like, "A TikTok? What are you talking about? Why would you compete with TikTok?" Even though what they're not talking about is TikTok specifically, but in fact what TikTok represents: a vacuum of your time. And in any sense of the word, your time is in fact directly correlated into money. We've talked about how this operates before and what game companies and other companies are doing to fine-tune algorithms, to create unique value propositions, to take away your time from other places to spend it either on their platform, their storefront, or even their algorithm by feeding you ads and making you spend more money. Again, this entire thing is not about competing with TikTok specifically, it's about the time dilation between that. Yet for some reason, even ex-CEOs can't figure this out. But we'll get to them in just a moment. Let's see what the article had to say in VGC and go from there. Speaking to TBN during a live stream on Tuesday transcribed by VGC, Nadella was asked about his outlook on gaming in a month where Xbox announced Halo for PlayStation 5 and is reportedly under pressure to hit unprecedented profit margins. Saying, quote, "Remember, the biggest gaming business is the Windows business," Nadella said. "To us, gaming on Windows, and of course Steam, has built a massive marketplace on top of it, and it's done a very successful job. So to us, the way we are thinking about gaming is, first of all, we're now the largest publisher after acquiring Activision." You know what? We're just going to stop right there. If you've been watching this channel for the past month and a half or even 2 months, that's exactly what I've been saying the entire time. People have been so focused on PlayStation versus Xbox console wars, not understanding the console wars have been done. They are over. They've been done since the beginning of the PS4 generation. What's been going on now are the platform wars. Microsoft is not looking to fight PlayStation. That's small fries. That's small potatoes to them. What they're looking to do is try and go through and fight against Steam and multiple platforms, places where people are spending their time and not engaging with Microsoft products instead. They want to pull people away from Steam and keep them on Windows, away from SteamOS and keep them on that space. They want to try and be a competitor towards Steam itself as a storefront by increasing their own size and making PC Game Pass far more lucrative than it ever has been for the actual customer and consumer. There's a reason why they put PC Game Pass tucked away behind every other option on their storefront. It's not because it's too good of a deal to find out, it's because they don't want anybody seeing how good of a deal it actually is and spending more money playing the actual ultimate version of Game Pass rather than actually doing the PC version instead. Uh-oh, am I bursting your bubble yet? Have you not figured it out right now? They're also worried about the fact that Linux is getting a growing market share. Whether or not it's 2 or 3% every year over year, that's still a huge amount of people comparative to what's been going on in the gaming space. And after Microsoft dropped Windows 10 support and ability, you can clearly see people take a look at SteamOS and say, hey, maybe I'll do that instead because Proton's been looking really good, especially after what's been happening to the Steam Deck. I don't know why people seem to just gloss over this entire thing, I guess because they're stuck in the console war specifically, but in reality what Microsoft is trying to do is fight a battle on multiple platforms and multiple fronts, not just talk about the console war that people who are actually in the industry themselves with experience in the industry still don't in fact understand what is happening right under their noses. But you know what? Let's continue the article and go from there. Nadella continued by saying this, so therefore we want to be a fantastic publisher, similar in approach to what we did with Office. We're going to be everywhere, on every platform. So we want to make sure whether it's consoles, whether it's the PC, whether it's mobile, whether it's cloud gaming or the TV, we just want to make sure the game is enjoyed by gamers everywhere. Has it come through yet? Have you figured it out yet? Have you seen what I've been talking about the entire time that nobody apparently wants to listen to and what Microsoft is trying to do? They're trying to have complete saturation and control of the entire market across every single platform. They're looking at it in terms of saying, oh, you're not going to buy our box? Don't worry. We're going to go where you are and we're going to put our games there. They want complete control over everything. This is a bigger play than console sales, console sales, console sales. Literally the thing that only people on Twitter seem to be talking about the entire time. And it's honestly getting to be a little bit redundant and stupid because when you think about what's actually happening in the gaming space, you can see that everybody is trying to do the exact same thing. If that wasn't the case, Helldivers 2 would not have been put on the Xbox platform to increase the reach of the actual user base and create more revenue through microtransactions. If that wasn't the case, then PlayStation would not be putting their games onto the PC platform to reach a new audience to buy their games that weren't buying their consoles in the first place. If that wasn't the case, then Nintendo would not be going around striking down every single emulator coming up from the underground dark web to make sure that the only way you can play their games is by one way and one way only. They're all trying to exert some form of control, and the fact that nobody can see this really is the more insane thing. But let's get to the real deal of TikTok and why nobody understands the entire premise. Nadella then talked about the quote from Mad Booty saying, most importantly, the game business model has to be where we have to invent maybe some new interactive media as well. Because after all, gaming's competition is not other gaming. Gaming's competition is short form video. And so if we as an industry don't continue to innovate, both how we produce what we produce, how we think about distribution, the economic model, right, the best way to innovate is to have good margins because that's the way you can fund. And I really want to bring this to attention because apparently people seem to have, again, short-term memory. Sean Layden said the exact same thing last year, saying this. Speaking to Eurogamer to celebrate PlayStation's 30th anniversary, Layden says that the company's real competition is social media and anything else that attracts attention away from gaming, and not Xbox or Nintendo as gamers would expect. And hell, he's not the only one with Sean Layden and Satya Nadella, because Reggie from Nintendo said the exact same thing. According to Nintendo Life, Reggie says Nintendo competes for consumer time, not concerned about direct competition. My competitive set is much bigger than my direct competitors. I really can't understand the cope that so many people are trying to produce in this exact statement about what's in fact happening. We've seen each leader of the big three in the console gaming and gaming space literally talk about how short form video, social platforms, and even things like TikTok are the actual competition in the gaming space, competing for your literal time. And I know I've had a bunch of morons come at me recently saying things like,
well, Matt Booty had an email where he said he would spend Sony out of business, and therefore you're wrong.
No, that's not the case at all. Someone saying they would spend Sony out of business still does not negate the fact that other platforms are in fact their competition. They are all competing for your time in some way, shape, or another. The difference is that Satya is telling you that now, when in the past years we've had every other single leader from those main companies say the exact same thing, and no one said a peep. The competition for the actual space in gaming is not their other direct competitors. It is in fact other platforms removing time away being spent on those specific platforms. Reggie said it, Sean Layden said it, Satya Nadella said it. I don't know what else I have to explain to people to say it is now a platform war, no longer a console war. But even then, ex-CEOs still don't understand the point. Here's Mike Ibarra on Twitter saying this: gaming doesn't compete with short form video. It competes with time. It's different. Literally, the dude is actually there's no other way around it. That's literally the entire point of what's happening with the space with short form video. People are spending copious amounts of time inside of those platforms and apps rather than actually playing video games. You talk about doom scrolling on a consistent basis, and you can clearly see how totally out of touch Mike Ibarra is, even from his own first sentence of his tweet. You're out of touch. I'm out of time, but I'm out of my head when you're not around. Mike Ibarra continues by saying video games are multi-hour premium experiences. They are so good you forget the sense of time. You escape reality and the challenges and stresses of today. Of reality. Short form video is what you do when you have a few minutes multiple times throughout your day. FYI, the average core gamer spends 3+ hours in the games they love on a daily basis, some 5+ hours. You know what's crazy about this is that clearly Mike Ibarra is in fact a boomer. And honestly, I could even dare say that at some points, whatever Microsoft says, Ibarra would in fact take the opposite approach and the opposite perspective. I guarantee it. If Microsoft one day said $60 video games are good, Ibarra would say no, games should be $80 or $70. If Microsoft said games should be $80, Ibarra would say no, they should be $60 or $70. Or if Game Pass one day goes away, Ibarra would say, oh, Game Pass should stay. The dude literally does the exact opposite of everything that Microsoft does. It's honestly the funniest thing to see. It's almost like the dude, in fact, does have bitter X syndrome. And it really goes to show how even though in his own tweet, in the beginning of the actual thing, he negates the entire argument he's trying to make the entire time and not even understanding the actual point of what Nadella is in fact saying, or even Sean Layden, or even Reggie himself. But you know what's even funnier is the fact that Reforge fucking Gaming knew exactly what Ibarra was saying, and he called him out on it.
Mike Ibarra could not be more uninformed about how people engage with that content. I mean, you talk about just a sentence drenched in ignorance. Does he have any idea the amount of time people spend on these platforms? Does he honestly think the generation behind me, some of you guys are in your 20s and 30s, the generation behind you, do you honestly think that they're like, oh, I have a few minutes to spend on TikTok. It has been a few minutes. I will now stop using TikTok. You talk about uninformed. That is absolutely not how people use these platforms.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Unironic Reforged Gaming W. That has to be the most wild thing I've honestly ever seen. The dude who literally goes around and tries to circumvent himself and say everything basically Xbox does is wrong, literally calling out Ibarra and saying, no, brother, that's not how kids operate today. You can clearly tell Ibarra is literally out of touch, and Reforged Gaming knows more about video games than Ibarra does. Holy! A guy who was a CEO at Blizzard doesn't understand the actual idea of what's happening in the gaming space, but Reforged Gaming does. I'm in Bizarro world. I'm in literal Bizarro world. I can't believe this. I gotta hand the dude a W. Oh, God. Well, you know what? You know what they say? Broken clock, Reforged. But I think the irony of all of this is also seeing how other journalists don't understand the actual point of what Nadella is in fact saying. Here's Paul Tassi saying, Satya Nadella's plan to take on TikTok with Xbox makes no sense, via Forbes. With an excerpt from the article saying this: if Nadella is saying the idea of competing against TikTok is literally making 30-second gaming experiences, that would run counter to the entire industry, where quote-unquote short games are possibly 5 hours at best. Core games are anywhere from 15 to 100 hours, if not more. So you're talking about what? Mobile games chopped into bits? Good luck. And this is a wildly different market than anything Xbox has done to date, with zero experience in that space. Ladies and gentlemen, video game journalism, completely incapable of having a singular understanding of what in fact is happening in the market, and then talking about mobile games chopped up into bits. I just can't, bro. They're not talking about that. What they're talking about is basically making every single game have its own specific platform and storefront, keeping you hooked into those games and into that platform, whether or not you want to buy their box, sign up for their service, or play games wherever you want to play them. They want to be ingrained. They want to be the first thing you click on. They want to be the first thing you sign into. And that's what Microsoft is trying to do. When they say they're going to put their games on every platform, they in fact mean it. They're going to put their games on every platform. They're going to make you sign in to Xbox on your PlayStation. They're going to make you sign into Xbox on your phone. They're going to make you go ahead and use Game Pass on every single platform, whether it's on cloud or on TV. Everybody is so stuck in the same ridiculous concept and stupid loop over and over again about console wars that nobody is seeing the actual bigger picture that's been talked about for almost over a decade now. And I think the even crazier part is that even people like Paul Tassi don't understand the point that Nadella is making, because even the EA CEO said this specifically. According to Axios, with an EA CEO interview saying, minutes engaged and money spent correlates on almost a 1-to-1 basis, Wilson said. So whether we create the content or a community creates the content, provided it's high quality, provided it's engaging, it represents an extraordinary opportunity for us. I am honestly absolutely shocked, flabbergasted, dare I say, that the fact that even video game journalists who take their entire job and career to understand the gaming industry don't get this point at all, and don't even understand what is in fact happening in the gaming space. The thing is that concerns me the most about what Nadella said, though, is his talk about margins, and we've had this conversation before. According to Kotaku, Satya Nadella says the best way for Xbox to innovate is to have, quote, good margins. Now, we've talked about margins before on this channel, especially the insane margins Amy Hood placed onto the Xbox division of 30% for profit, which is a wild number to hit overall. But the thing is, it's not the fact that they're trying to hit it by having more people play their products. No, it's the fact that you're going to be seeing a lot of things happen in this space that have direct implications to things like dark patterns. If you don't know what dark patterns are, it's actual user interface tricks that can go through and cause a player or person to spend more money inside of a video game than they actually wanted to. There's a reason why game developers and publishers have things like convert your actual money into these coins, but then what you buy isn't enough for the actual thing that you want to buy, so you got to buy more than what you actually need. Then you have leftovers, so you have to buy even more to make it an even balance to buy the next thing. That's how they honestly get you. In fact, it even happened to a colleague of mine of this channel, Rurikon.
Making the original Accelerated Battle Pass button the default landing button on the seasonal page, they intentionally didn't add a confirmation button for those who hit by accident. By adding a feature that only exists to prey on misclicks so people activate their Battle Pass when they don't want to sucks. What?
No!
Wait.
What? Let's see if it counted. No!
What?
No!
Ah!
If that thing activated, you gotta be. I have to constantly go to that fucking menu.
Oh my god!
You gotta be shitting me.
It definitely snaps on PC.
Oh shit! I was trying to click Season Journey.
Quinn did the same on stream, no confirmation.
Accelerated pass. What? What is this? Wait, I didn't agree to it. I just said activate. What? What does it mean transaction? What does it mean transaction?
Oh my god.
In fact, Rory made a tweet right here saying this, which I absolutely agree with. Rurikon on Twitter said the reason these fucking morons are losing the next gaming generation is because they are pricing them out of the hobby and they have no respect for their audience. It is literally that simple. Games like Baldur's Gate 3, Expedition 33, and Elden Ring are proof positive that if you respect gamers, they will give you their money and time. But if you don't respect us, don't expect us to support you. We are quite literally spoiled for choice in the industry right now. The minimum viable product is no longer enough to earn our purchase. Time to actually put in an effort. And also, chill with the aggressive monetization. We're not interested in your casino bullshit. And I'll say this, as much as I love Rory and as much as I totally agree with him, I feel like Microsoft is going to go the opposite direction. You're going to be seeing more safe bets being available to consumers and customers. You're going to be seeing more casino bullshit because of that 30% profit margin requirement by Amy Hood on Xbox. Whether or not Xbox goes through and supplies themselves into every single platform, that's fine and dandy because that is in fact good for the consumer. The difference is the product being provided, the way that they're going to abuse the customer and consumer, and how they've increased prices of not only their systems and services, but also the fact that we can clearly see that they're going to be having more safe bets overall, rather than actually providing good quality content, is going to be the biggest factor and the biggest poison, I think, of all of gaming. And you're going to be seeing more game companies do the exact same thing. It's going to be a rarity, dare I even say a treat, when games are in fact on the disc, complete, ready to go, day one, don't need patches, and aren't full of microtransaction skins. Hell, speaking of skins, we talked yesterday about how Valve wiped away $4 billion in an actual skin economy of Counter-Strike 2. This is exactly why these companies do this, why you see companies like Ubisoft provide time-gated mechanics to make you spend money to remove those time-gated mechanics, why we see so many other publishers and developers want to go ahead and say, oh, $80 for our video game, but also add MTXs, and every fool, clown, and idiot on the internet saying, well, if they charge you $100 for the game, I'm sure they'll take microtransactions out, right? No, they'll charge you $100 because they know you'll pay it, and then put in the MTX on top of that, and then fuck you with all the dark patterns on top of it. Clearly, Microsoft has a good plan overall with wanting to go through and be on every platform and provide products to more people, which I think is a true pro-consumer move. But I feel like there's going to be poison behind the actual bite. When that happens, you're going to be seeing Microsoft go through and, again, like I said, have much safer bets and provide you with more ways to, dare I say, abuse your time and make you spend more money. Like the actual CEO of EA said, time spent correlates to a 1-to-1 of money spent inside of any video game. And that's really where they're going to get their margin. Hell, you can even see it with other studios right now. The fact that according to Game Rant, Electronic Arts is reportedly pushing its employees to use artificial intelligence, and they are not happy with the recent changes. And you could even see it happen with Amazon as well. The fact that Amazon Game Studios completely were just evaporated off the face of the earth yesterday as Amazon fired 30,000 employees. Games like New World are completely gone off the face of the earth and are no longer going to be able to be purchased or even be played in the first place. That's exactly what we're going to be seeing. More layoffs, more studio closures, more people being forced to use AI, all to hit those specific kinds of margins, and the games people actually want to play no longer being developed unless people move into the AA space or even indie space, and that's where you're going to be seeing a bigger tick up in actual users overall. And when you talk about actual ownership of video games, things are not going to get any better, because even yesterday, according to VGT Gaming News, a massive Microsoft Azure outage has taken down services including Microsoft 365 and Xbox, with players reporting they can't access Game Pass games and Minecraft. Get ready to own nothing, live in a pod, eat the bugs, and be happy, of course, in the most sarcastic sense of the word. And you're going to see every single video game company follow that exact same program, because they also want to hit those specific kinds of margins. Whether you like it or not, the gaming industry is not competing with each other. They're competing for your time, and they're going to abuse you in every possible way, whether algorithmically, whether money-wise, whether with dark patterns, whether specific games that want to keep you hooked, or anything they can do to cut costs. They will in fact do it to hit those profit margins. And it doesn't matter which company you decide to back your horse on, they're all in the ballpark together, because you can bet your sweet bippy they all have dinner together, they all call each other, and they all have meetings with each other. It's one big club, and you're not in it. I am incredibly worried. But anyways, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this, so go ahead and let me know in the comments section down below. Are you happy with Microsoft's decision? Do you think it's going to ruin gaming, or do you feel like this is going to be the right call to make? I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, hot takes in the gaming industry, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just show up Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on this channel, as I live stream in front of 800 people while getting insulted with AI TTS and wearing a banana suit. Also, I've got a voice changer now, and I make myself sound like a ooh-woo dummy mommy. It's a show, trust me. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!